The reason you are struggling in your life right now is because you have identified yourself with something that is limited. So you are unlimited, you are infinite, you are undefinable. And what happens when you try to define the undefinable is suffering, constriction, pain, stress, and fear. There's this part of you deep inside that wants to be free, and you aren't. You aren't yet. Maybe you are. But if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you aren't yet. And you can become free. And I have this metaphor of there's this huge forest, right? And there's a thunderstorm. It's raining, and there's lightning striking everything in this forest, right? The majority of the wildlife is pretty safe. But then there is this bird in a metal cage on the ground of the forest floor that was dropped off a few days ago by its owners, who can no longer take care of this bird. So the door to the metal cage is open, and the bird sits inside this cage. And the bird has never lived outside of a cage, so it's a little scared to leave its cage. But suddenly, this thunderstorm starts striking, and if the bird doesn't leave the cage, then the thunder is going to hit, the lightning is going to hit the metal cage, and the bird is going to get electrocuted and cease to exist. So although it feels safe to stay in the cage, the bird has to fly into the storm, into the thunder, into the lightning to preserve itself, to stay alive, to keep its soul alive. So the door is open. You can leave. The door is open. And if you have infinity, just the infinity sign, like infinity in math or whatever, that is every single number combined, right? So you can say 1 is inside of infinity, or 82 is inside of infinity. But 2 is not infinity. Although it's inside of infinity, it is not infinity. You can find aspects of yourself in this existence, positive or negative, and you can think that that is you. You can identify yourself with that. And in some case, it is a part of you. Whether you see yourself as a 2 or a negative 2, that is one aspect of you. But by defining yourself as that one aspect of yourself, you are missing every other number. As a matter of fact, every positive aspect that you possess has an equally negative aspect that will cancel it out. And it's up to you to focus on the positive aspect or the negative aspect. If you're focusing on some negative aspects about yourself, there is definitely a positive aspect that will cancel out that negative. That's why people who are insecure, they're in the negative aspects, and they get slapped in the face by the universe by saying, actually, you are better than you think. And people that are overly prideful get trapped into the positive aspects of themselves, and they get slapped by the universe. You are actually worse than you think. And it all neutralizes to zero. It all neutralizes to zero, okay? That's what I'm trying to get at. That you are everything. You are infinity. But you add all of the numbers together that exist, all the positive and negative numbers, and you get to zero. Nothingness. You are nothing and you are everything. And I'm suffering sometimes because I am inaccurately defining myself. You cannot be defined. And it's easy to get trapped in something. And society these days, I don't know what's going on with the world, but first of all, we have to stop trapping ourselves and being stuck in a place of comfort, okay? Right now, I'm living in a house in Arizona, okay? And like Arizona's beautiful half of the year, like the weather is great here, but there's no green, there isn't much to see. It's most where I am mostly consists the city of man-made lakes, and I feel disconnected from nature. And sometimes I feel like maybe I should be so happy because I have a roof over my head and I have everything that I could ever ask for. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you have. If you're disconnected from nature, if you're disconnected from your true essence, your true origin, then you are going to feel that way. So many people these days are isolated looking at these screens. And we have forgotten what it means to exist. We have forgotten what is truly normal. We have normalized the bizarre. We have normalized the unnatural way of living. And many ancient people do believe that there is going to be a very big wake-up call soon that forces us to get back in tune with nature. And most people don't have the skills. And what does this have to do with being undefinable? What that means to me is that, like, plants and nature don't have a sense of self that they're trying to preserve. I'm not sure about the animal kingdom, however, but this sense of self that we're trying to preserve, to meet these social expectations. At the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything once you are actually living in alignment with nature, because the society we exist in is man-made. The concept of yourself that you have tried to define into a singular number is also man-made. Okay, so now what, right? Now what? What is the call to action? What do we do? The reason I am making this channel is to bring awareness to, number one, we are in a dystopia and we have normalized a really weird way of life. And if we don't go back to living in harmony with nature soon, I'm not gonna custom this channel, but we are done for. Number two, we are in denial of death. And by me even saying that, I'm in denial of death. But more than me being in denial of death, it's more like I'm in denial that people would live this way despite their short life. Okay? It's this thing of like, we are trying to live forever, we're trying to preserve ourselves, and in the process, we're disconnecting ourselves from life. All these supplements, all these mass means of like trying to do biohacks, all of this stuff is because we're afraid of death and because we have bioengineered everything, and in the process we have actually destroyed the very thing that gives us life. Like, for example, the agricultural crops are losing diversity because we are bioengineering them because we want to live longer, and then just the ecosystems are being at in grave danger. Anyways, this video was a little bit all over the place. What I'm trying to get to is this: you are not definable, no matter how much society will try to define you. You don't have to draw inside the lines. You know, the sooner you realize anything's possible, the sooner you'll realize anything's possible. And what I was getting at was saying that I live in Arizona is that I'm going to change the way I'm living. I'm making this channel, first of all. I am going to go get yoga certified in Costa Rica, and I want to learn how to farm and do all of these things. Right now is a very important time for us to learn these skills because I don't know what's going to happen in 2024. I've heard some weird things of what could happen this year. I hope they're not true, but better safe than sorry in terms of learning how to grow your own food, number one, buying gold, which I still have to do, and living in a place that's actually sustainable in the case that electricity goes out, and building connections with people and being grounded in yourself and focusing on what is the real world, right? What is the real world? People tell us, okay, this is the real world. You're going to go into the real world after you graduate high school or college. And that is not the real world. The real world of industrialization and capitalism and money. No. You guys don't know how to live in the real world. I don't know how to live in the real world because that is not the real world. The real world that we have to prepare to live in is actually the natural world, okay? The real world that we have to prepare to live in is outside. Literally, outside. Growing your own food. Knowing how to take care of yourself without these mass corporations, okay? I am done with this tangent. You are undefinable. And honestly, the answers are within you. Much love. Namaste. I will upload more videos soon.